Hello, everyone. I am your goddess Evolved, and I'm here to bring a message to you guys. And the message I want to share with you guys is my story. It's a part of my story, and the story goes on. So I want you guys to tune in, like, share, comment, subscribe, and just get to know me and my purpose for being here. And I want to start by talking about your faith, because as a child, I grew up in the church. My grandmother was a pastor. I had aunties that was pastor that I looked up to. I had uncles that was pastor. We was in the church. That's all I knew. But we had these rules. We had so many rules and things that we weren't allowed to do, things we weren't allowed to say, places we weren't allowed to go, things we weren't allowed to do. Like, we just had a lot of rules, y'all. But I say all that to say my story is very unique, and I've said that before. What I mean by unique is, even though I went through all of these things, and you may say, "Darn, nigga, I've been through a lot," but through all of these things, I never lost my faith in the Holy Spirit. I never lost my faith, because I knew that one day it would eventually get better. I knew that. Like, regardless of what I was going through, what sickness they said I had, how I was treated, or what current situation or state I was in, like no job, single parent, abusive home, and then to go from one abusive home to another, then to also find out that you are fighting these generational curses that was placed upon your life that you have no idea about. But then that's not it, because not only did I have to fight these generational curses, I had to also fight the curses of the beings that surround me, the beings that I considered being a friend or a loved one or someone that gave me comfort, some form of comfort, because my heart was just open to any form of love, being that I had been hurt so many times, and I didn't feel love. I didn't feel love, and I grew to love. I grew to love learning things, and I began learning so many things. But what do you do when you learn so many things, and then after you learn all of these things, and you go and apply for a job you may think you'd be a good fit for, but then you receive a letter saying that you're overqualified for the job? Then what do you do? I kept my faith, kept moving, kept on keeping on. I have been, I'm a dental assistant, I'm a quality specialist. I am a, I have been a lead person over a company, over a line at a company. Um, I'm a hairstylist. All of those things that I learned, like, but none of those things gave me, I felt like I was doing all right. I was doing all right, but I just felt like I can just do just a little more, you know, because even though I was going through all of those from job to job to job, I still kept my faith. And with that faith, and I mean the size of a mustard seed, with that faith, I was able to see that I was under attack. I was able to see that my family was under attack and why I wasn't moving forward. And then I began to pray and I asked God to help me out of this situation. But the thing was, He was moving, but I just couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. Let's say, Spirit made me sit down. I had to sit down. And what I mean by sit down is I was put on bed rest. I was put on bed rest from the time I was 4 months pregnant with my baby boy, who is now 7 years old. On bed rest as a single parent. And I went through my entire savings to make sure my bills was paid on time, to make sure my kids had food to eat, to make sure everything was taken care of as a parent. I did what I could do. And mind you, I'm a hairstylist. I wasn't able to I wasn't able to do hair because I couldn't stand on my feet. I wasn't able to do anything. So I was led to drive Uber. So I was like, well, it's the next best thing. I can get quick cash. I don't have to worry about, you know, my money, about getting my money because it's gonna go directly to my account. So I was like, okay, well I just did Uber until I was just too big to not do Uber anymore. So long story short, I went through all the way to my 9 months, high risk pregnancy, hospitalized twice. I was losing amniotic fluid once. Secondly, I was hemorrhaging. I had a hematoma on my cervix. So I had my baby on time. I had him on time. And after I had him, the job that I was forced to leave um, did not want to hire me back on the shift that I was working. And mind you, when I left, I had worked 3 terms of 90 days. And after 90 days, it used to be you get hired on permanent. But yeah, I had worked 3 90-day terms. And then when they found out that I was pregnant, that was not happening. They was like, nah, can't be hiring her. That's going to be too risky. So I was unable to get any form of unemployment because I wasn't fired. No short-term disability because I wasn't permanent. So all I had was a reliable car, and I had enough funds to get started with starting Uber or whatever, to make funds to get settled. So I used what I had. I had a car and I had money to put gas in my car. So I did Uber till I couldn't anymore. But after I had my son, I was forced to go to another shift that would not allow me to care for my kids. So I ended up having to turn down the job that I once was working before I went on leave. But I found another job and I started working that job, going to Charlotte I had enough money left. I had exactly $40 left in my account when I was able to fill up my tank, get to work for 1 week to get a full pay. I did that. 2 weeks after I started this job, I was hired on permanent. Stayed, was harassed on this job. I had people that was harassing me because of me being me. And it was mainly because there was an individual fella or guy or whatever who, you know, was attracted to me. And I had no interest in this guy, but every time I would go to break, he would come to my table. Now, we only had 15-minute breaks. So, like, I'm not about to keep moving from my table to keep peace because your girlfriend works here. Like, you know, your lady works here. Leave me alone, sir. I'm trying to have my break. But long story short, the lady ended up cutting my lunch bag or whatever. So I stopped bringing my lunch in. Da 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 da. Stayed on this job for a little while longer until my previous job wanted me to come back. And I told them I'm not coming back unless you hire me straight through the door. Because I say, when you guys did what you did to me, it was hard for me to get back on my feet. So the only way I will come back is if you hire me straight through the door, because if you don't take me, I already have a place of employment. I don't have to settle for that. If you're not value of me and what I bring to the table,